This is Justin.
And this is Haley. You're listening to The Price of Avocado Toast.
We're a married millennial couple wanting to normalize the conversations around money. We want to hear about your highs and your lows,
The do's and the don'ts on your path towards financial freedom. Hi Toasties, welcome to The Price of Avocado Toast.
Whether you're a first-time listener or you've been following us from the start of this thing, we're so glad to have this conversation with you today. And I think I mean that more so than ever because this is the final episode of 2020, which has been one heck of a year for a lot of people, including us. So I'm so glad we're having this conversation today.
Yeah, this year has been crazy. I really wanted to just do this episode to do a recap on really where we've come from and where we are today, because this has been a transformative year for us.
For sure.
And I just want to fully recognize before we really get into this that this has been a year full of privilege for us. I acknowledge that this has not been easy for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And we did benefit this year. So we are going to talk about some of the things that happened this year for our family, but really kind of where we came from. So where should we start?
I think we got to start from just kind of recapping our story itself. Like, why do we even have this podcast? Why are we even talking about finances? And I think the most important thing to stress is that we're not coming from a place of success. We are coming from a place of we have done literally everything wrong, and we have receipts to prove it. Like, that's the most important thing. I don't want anybody to think like that when we talk to somebody, whether it's through an interview or just somebody in our everyday lives, like that we have all these answers. Well, first off, I don't want them to think we have all the answers because we don't. But I also don't want them to think that we have the answers because we were doing it right from the start. I want people to know that the answers that we have come from us doing it wrong and trying to correct those mistakes through maybe talking to somebody else and getting new information and doing better. So, all right, I feel like the first thing we need to share is just talking again about the amount of money that came into our lives that sparked all of this.
Okay, so if you are just tuning in, if you have not listened to our early episodes, this is where we're going to recap kind of the background of really where we got started, because we have made epic mistakes. And I just want to say, those first couple episodes, I was really nervous and slightly tipsy, so hopefully these come off a little smoother.
A little cleaner for sure.
The beginning episode. Okay, so you and I met in 2015, and you had just received news that there was going to be a lawsuit settlement of some sort. Can you tell everyone kind of about what that was?
Yeah. So my grandmother passed away, unfortunately, from mesothelioma, which is asbestos-caused lung cancer. And due to that, my grandma and grandfather, when my grandma got the diagnosis, started a lawsuit against the company that my grandpa worked for that was essentially at fault for this. And then when she passed away, they filed a wrongful death suit. And so the wrongful death suit was paid out. And due to that payout going to my grandmother's heirs, including my father and his children. My father's passed away, so all the money came to me, my brother, and my sister. We each got $1 million. Now, we had to pay lawyer fees, so that was $400,000, but essentially it was $600,000 to each of the kids. I got a $60,000 check, and then a month later, I got a $540,000 check. And you know, it's so funny because, like, when I bring it up or when we talk about it with people, you know, I'm two ways about it because $600,000 is a lot of money. And, you know, I know people sit there and think, like, how the hell could you do that? I would have been so much smarter with that money. But there's this meme going around that's like, whether you have $10, $100, $1,000, or $10,000, if you don't have the correct financial literacy, you're going to spend that irresponsibly no matter what ladder you're at for that money.
Yeah.
And I would have made mistakes with $600. I would have made mistakes with $6,000. The fact that it was so large doesn't mean, you know, I had the tools to protect myself from doing that. It's irrelevant the amount of money. It could have been just $1,000 that I got. I would have spent it irresponsibly because I wasn't financially literate. I didn't know that stuff. That stuff wasn't taught to me. It wasn't conversation I had growing up. But nonetheless, we got $600,000. And this was right when you and I first started dating. So you guys, Haley is a real one because Haley liked me prior to me having all this money. She liked me when I got all this money, and she straight up married me when I lost it all, which is dope. Like, that's how you know you're a real one. You're like, yo,
Yeah.
you blew $500,000, and I still want to be with you.
The wedding was the end.
Yeah.
That was the last cash we had. We threw a $30,000 baller wedding. We cash flowed it and then went broke.
Yeah, it was hella fun, though.
It was great, worth
Yeah.
every penny. But however, yeah. So I met you, and that was a lot of money. And I
Yeah.
remember we were really reckless in how we decided to do things when we first started dating, just because we just fell madly in love with each other and didn't really care about anything else. But when we started dating, everything just went at lightning speed. We met, got together, moved in together after being together for like 2 months, and then got like a joint bank account immediately. And I would not recommend that, but it's just the way that we did things. And then I went through like debt consolidation, and you helped me pay for that. And it just was, there was a lot. We got really, really deeply entangled financially with each other when we barely even knew each other.
It was messy.
It was really messy, but I think we had the most trust with each other.
For sure.
I knew deep in my heart you were not going to screw me over.
Yeah.
And you knew the same with me. However, looking back, I'm like, that was very irresponsible.
For
That
sure.
was very not a good idea to do that with someone that you just met.
Agreed.
So after the wedding, you were still in school for a year.
I was.
And then, like, we just kept getting in debt, deeper into credit card debt. Then we went on our honeymoon and we bought a timeshare, specifically got a credit card just to, like, get some flight miles. And then the credit cards really started stacking after, like, our honeymoon. So that was early 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we're trying to pay off debt at the same time. It was very, like, counteractive. We were spending hardcore on credit cards while I was completely in charge of the finances, thinking I'm doing things right with the payoff. Like, I would throw $300 at the Home Depot credit card or throw $200 at our Apple credit card. But things were just really all over the place with all of the credit card usage, and you really had no idea how I was handling it. Not like I was doing it wrong. There was not much transparency there.
I just think that we didn't really have a clear plan either, right? Like, we knew, okay, we need to take care of credit card debt, and we don't want to keep spending like this. We didn't have a real clear plan. And I think we also weren't upfront about the issues with our spending.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we didn't confront the fact that we had this massive inheritance. And, yeah, we bought our home. We don't own this place outright, though, and we could have, if that's the first thing we did. We could have bought a home here outright, and that would have been, wiser. There's things we could have done that would have been smarter to do, but we didn't do them because we didn't know, and we didn't confront those problems either. So we're still spending on credit cards. We're still racking up that debt. And, I mean, we're talking credit cards for everything. Kohl's, Macy's, Dick's Sporting Goods, Amazon, Gas, United, Barclays, Wells Fargo, all of it. Like, we had so many that we just, Ashley Furniture, like, stuff, everything was going on credit cards.
And it started as, 5 or 6 store credits, right? To use only at that store. And then it turned into, we had a Bank of America, we had a Chase, we had a Wells Fargo generic credit card to use wherever. We also had a Barclays to use wherever. And then that spiraled very quickly into, holy shit, we can't pay the bills, that we have to put the groceries on the credit card. And we need to put the PG&E gas and electric on the credit card, and we need to put our water bill on a credit card, and I need some new clothes, so we're just going to go drop $500 at Macy's just because we can.
Yeah.
And we were completely oblivious to what we were doing. And I'm talking about this now, and I can still think of people in my life that still do this, because people really, the biggest thing is recognizing that you even have a problem.
Yeah, and you're mentioning people that still do this, and you and I have talked about the fact that we're not going to go back into credit debt because we had issues with our spending habits and the way we did it. And there's so many people out there, brilliant human beings, who have found what works for them, and that might be how they leverage credit and the rewards they can get and stuff like that, and more power to them. They're brilliant humans that we've learned stuff from just in interviews and chatting on Instagram with them, but it's something that we can't do because of these specific habits that we had where it spiraled so fast and became so insanely pressurized that it's terrifying. So we go on our anniversary trip in September of 2019. It's our 1-year anniversary, and we had planned for this anniversary. Like, we had saved up a little bit of money for this anniversary, and we go and literally blow through that money, put a ton of it on credit cards, like way more spending than we needed. And I remember being like the whole time like, oh man, I'm having such a good time. But the other part of me was like, I can't even enjoy our anniversary because I'm so stressed about money right now. And this was right when I had just gotten my job teaching. So we both are now full-time teachers, full-time careers, making I mean, I won't say decent money, not great money here in Sonoma County. Decent money, though, and we should be getting ahead, and we're not because we still don't have a plan. We still don't have the tools to be successful, and it held back our anniversary for sure.
Our daughter right now, who just turned 1, her new favorite toy is this bunny rabbit that we got on that anniversary trip. And this thing is a very bougie bunny. But this bunny cost us like $65, $70 or something.
Bunnies by the bay.
Very nice. Monterey Bay, right on the water. Anyway,
it's a really nice bunny. I really like it.
It's a really nice bunny, but why
Yeah.
on earth did we pay that much for a little rabbit? I have no idea. It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
For our unborn child. She wasn't even here. I don't even buy her clothes that cost that much.
Yeah, insane.
But it's just, we're constantly now looking back at all of these little things. I'm like, there's that rabbit. That costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So then what really, really, the tipping point, I want you to talk on this because I feel like you have a big story with the tipping point. The tipping point happened after the anniversary trip, towards the end of September, early October, when we literally were broke. Like, everything was on credit cards. And this, again, I'm going to reiterate this. This is the first month you and I, out of our whole entire relationship, both had career salaries coming in.
Yeah.
From the moment we met, one of us was in school of some sort or serving at restaurants. And this is the first time we were actually like, okay, we've graduated. We both have master's degrees. We're going to just do this. We're making the most money we've ever made.
Yeah.
And we still couldn't even make it.
For sure. So it's October. We get into the famous pumpkin muffin fight, which is Haley bought some pumpkin muffins at Costco as like a 7-month pregnant woman, and I freaked out because I didn't think we had the $7 in our bank account to cover it, or the $7 in our fake budget that we didn't even know what we were doing to cover it because we thought our groceries were like $300 a month because we were dumb. But so I remember,
Seriously,
yelling.
that was probably the worst.
Oh, so dumb. So dumb. Like, yeah, that's definitely what we spend.
That's
now.
the biggest wake-up call when we did the budget and realized that we spent like $700 eating out.
Yeah. It's like, this
eating
is
out.
ridiculous. So we get into the pumpkin muffin fight, and I remember it's like early November. I think it's the first week of November, and it's a Monday. No, it's not a Monday. It's late October still, actually. It's late October, and I'm driving to work, and I start sobbing in the car. And I mean, I'm not super religious, but I was raised Christian, and I remember just praying to God, like, dude, I am failing my wife so hard. We have a baby girl coming in 2 months, and I'm not even close to in the right spot to bring a child into this world, and I don't even know where to start. I don't know the tools to get there. Now, the crazy thing is that very day, my financial advisor from the bank here in town returned a call to me and spoke to me about some options for taking out contributions to my Roth IRA, which I don't recommend doing now looking back at it, but we did it nonetheless and took care of all of our credit cards that day. Or not all of them, 16,000 of them that day. We took out $16,000, paid off $16,000 worth of credit cards, and that started our push towards actually getting on the right track because a couple weeks later, we finally downloaded a budgeting app and got very, very serious about it. Started listening to a podcast, got very, very serious about finances, and then our daughter is born December 10th. 4 or 5 days later, I sell my paid off 2016 RAV4. I get $16,000 cash for that. used 10 of it to pay off the rest of our credit cards. So that's $26,000 we've paid off in a month and a half through.
Yeah, I think it was 27,000 total of
Yeah.
credit card debt that we had ended up in.
Oh, you're right, because I bought the Civic for a little bit less. I bought the Civic for like $5,000. Yeah, and then I bought a used car. It's a great little car, whips around. I love it. But that's in December of 2019. So
Like a year ago.
at the end of December of 2019, we had finally paid off all our credit cards. This massive debt that we had racked up after blowing an inheritance. And at the start of 2020, we decided to make our famous student loan mountain sheet. That was our New Year's Day, not New Year's Eve thing. We had a newborn daughter at home. We're hanging out with her. We put her to bed, and we make a New Year's Eve student loan mountain vision board, basically. And it has all of our student loans listed. And at this point, the start of 2020, we had, I think, 134,000?
Something like
Like
that.
134,000 of student loans combined. And this was going to be the last of our debts, other than the timeshare.
We had 18 separate student loans between the two of us. Mine was undergrad and graduates combined, and yours was just graduate, because one smart thing you did with the $600,000 inheritance was pay off the remaining balance of your undergrad. So
Yeah, it was short. It was like $10,000. It wasn't that much.
it was a little one.
Yeah.
All right, so we have our goals. We're ready to tackle our student loan mountain. That was New Year's Eve a year ago. And then February comes. I'm on maternity leave still, and I lose my job. I literally get fired from my job. Someone comes pounding on the door while I'm basically sleeping and hands me some paperwork saying that my teaching contract is being terminated or ended at the end of the school year. So that sucked.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, that was the first bump in the road for us. But it didn't last too long.
Luckily, even in a short time, the 2 months that we had really been practicing this, push towards financial literacy, even in that short 2 months, we had already built confidence to be like, okay, you know what? We're going to grieve this moment in our lives because this really sucks. You were really dedicated to your students, but we're going to be okay because we finally are on the right track.
Yeah, and also we started budgeting and actually really legit budgeting in November of 2019. So we had been budgeting a few months, and like everyone says, budgeting sucks for a few months until you really get the hang of it. So this was right when we're like, okay, I feel like we really understand what we're bringing in, what we're bringing out, and how we're going to utilize our actual budget and stick to it. So yeah, there was a sense of confidence there. It was like, I was broken. It was the worst thing / best thing to ever happen to me. But I really was scared for a second because I thought, we are so irresponsible with money. We have blown a $600,000 inheritance over the course of 3 years and then racked up $27,000 worth of debt. Just the credit cards. Not only we bought cars and everything, but this is the first time where I was like, okay, I think maybe we've got a handle on this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went and searched for a job, another job.
So
You already had your job.
I already had 2 jobs. I was already serving at one restaurant and working as a teacher. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to get another job because I really want to crush it during the summer. So I got this really cool banquet server job that I was super hyped to start. I had booked out my entire summer on this really cool app of scheduling, and I was ready to go, and I was super hyped. And I had spring break, and then at the end of spring break, the very last day of spring break was going to be my first ever shift. And on the Friday right before spring break hits, we all get called into our community center meeting room at work, and the superintendent goes, hey, I'll keep in touch with you guys, but we might not be coming back for a couple weeks. And then that very next Tuesday, she was like, we're not going to come back after the break. We're going to take some time. And then right after that, it was like, hey, the entire country's in a lockdown because of COVID-19. And
It happened
plans
real quick.
changed. Yeah. I didn't work a single day for that job. I have not worked a single day for them at all this year.
You did training.
I did training.
And that's it.
So
for
I will
one
have
day.
to get a W-2 from that.
Yeah, you will get the W-2, so we do have to count.
That was going to be a really fun job, too. I'm really
It
bummed
was
about
going to
that.
be a lot of money.
And it was going to be a lot of money, yeah.
Like baller.
It was going to be super dope.
I do also want to add that, yes, I lost my job in February, but that was effective the end of May. So
Yeah.
I was getting paid this whole time. I was on maternity leave, still getting my disability. Like, I was still getting paid. But we knew it was a dooming future, knowing that there was going to be no money come June. So we lit the fire under our butts to really kind of figure out, like, okay, this budget we think we've got figured out, we really have to figure it out because soon there's going to be no income. And we really just had to figure it out. And we did a pretty good job with that. So COVID really put a wrench in the plans, though.
Yeah.
That we live in California. That lasted still going on, but the lockdown aspect was from mid-March to about early June, like the full-blown lockdown, and you were not even really working with your second job at the restaurant. And then during all that free time, we're spending all of our time at home on Instagram, scrolling, hanging out with people, making videos, not hanging out with people, FaceTiming people. There we go. We definitely did not hang out with people.
No.
But everyone was like, hey, you should start a YouTube channel, because we were making all these stupid videos on Instagram. And that kind of got me thinking about our podcast. I was like, hey, Justin and I pop on Instagram and talk about money. Maybe people will really want to hear about it. And then the podcast got started. In June.
And now we have a podcast that's going into 2021. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
It is pretty
Go
cool.
team.
So we have the podcast. That's in the summer. I start serving a little bit again. And then in early August, we are planning for Haley to be at home.
Rewind. We sold our car over the summer.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're right. That was before the trip.
Yes, because we start this podcast, and you guys are literally the best because you really hyped us up with staying on track with all of our goals. But our podcast and the Instagram we started introduced us to our financial coach, Ryan, and he was the one that helped us really come up with some ideas and talk through what we were really going to do with our next steps, which was selling our car, 2018 paid off 4Runner, beautiful dream car.
Beautiful.
It went bye-bye, and that was so worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it. We sold it. How much did we sell it for? 30?
We sold it for $32. Afterwards, we bought an $8,000 Suburban, so we netted $24 on the sale. Yeah. Straight to student loans. Bang.
We put $30,000 down on that. So that means the remaining $6,000 was savings.
That student loan payment was a $30,000 payment. That $6,000 was what we had saved up.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, small chunk that we had saved up.
Okay, so go back to August.
So then August, we are driving to a camping trip with my brother and my sister and my brother's wife and then my sister's kids. And we had all seen each other during the quarantine. That we were like our own little pods. And Haley gets a message from a friend who's like, hey, I know you're not teaching in the fall, but I'm going to be out on maternity leave. Will you take my class? And Haley's like, all right, I'm going to apply to the job. Gets the job. So we, on the trip to the campgrounds, paid another $4,000 on student
Something
loans.
like that.
Yeah, we were like saving up a little bit of money, so we threw another $4,000 on student loans.
We were saving money because I was intentionally this time. So I lost my job, and then I was like, okay, I actually want to stay home with our baby. So then I was going to stay home this school year, or at least half the school year, intentionally. And so we'd save some money to subsidize our income a little bit. And then when I found out I was going to get a steady income with this teaching job, I was like, well, hell, let's throw that, all of it, strip our money literally down to our $1,000 emergency fund and put every penny on student loans. I about had a heart attack in the car.
Yeah, but it made it easier because it's distance learning still. So both of us were able to be home with Calliope teaching, and it just made it way easier. And that's been our life for the last 4 months. It's finally winter break, and we made it through the semester. I definitely wanted to punch my teeth out a couple times with Franklin, our new puppy.
You definitely had more of a struggle than I did. You're the best husband in the world. He gave me our little office, so I got to teach in a little makeshift classroom office, with the door shut with peace.
Yep.
And he got to teach in the living room while, trying to get the dog to shut up.
Yeah, or the baby to, finally go down for her morning nap. Yeah.
You did such a great job. But now I am done.
Yeah.
Because the job was just a temporary, half the year. So now it's going into 21 really I look back on this whole year. I really do acknowledge that we've had it much easier than most people.
For sure.
Way easier than a lot of people. And I do think a lot of that does come from not just budgeting. Sure, we learned how to budget this year. Woo. But we transformed our mindsets and our spending habits, complete 180.
Yeah.
So now where we are, there's certain things we used to do where I'm I would never even think of doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
We went, got some takeout tonight. Kind of felt bad doing it, but we were low on our grocery budget this month. We have a $600 grocery budget, and we didn't use it all. We had some extra money, so we decided to go get some takeout for dinner. We spent $70, and feeling guilty about that is so funny. I look back on it because we used to do that 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Just no question about it.
Yeah. Which is crazy because I like cooking.
Yeah, and you're an amazing cook.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, it's strange, but I think there's also an amount of privilege that comes with how our year's been. We've been really blessed to be in the position that we're at. Really blessed with my grandma's legacy, and even if we messed up some of it, what having this home in Sonoma County provides for us, having a college education, what that provides for us, having family close by that love us and care about us and support us. We're really privileged and blessed to be in the situation that we're at going into 2021. So, do you want to share some final numbers for 2020 and how it went for us?
Well, first off, yeah.
Okay, first off, while you're getting the numbers pulled up, there's a couple people I want to say thank you to. I want to say thank you to everybody that came on and sat and interviewed with us.
Yes.
So we've got, Jamie with Baff. We've got Friends on Fire. We've got Ryan, our coach. We've got Mimi. We've got Becky.
Holly.
We've got Holly. We've got Lexa from Avocado Toast Budget. We've got Lauren, who's going to be up in a couple weeks. You guys haven't heard her episode yet, but she's super dope too. I'm trying to think, is there anybody else that I'm missing that we interviewed? I don't think so.
Yes, we are missing a couple people. In the very, very beginning, right when we first got started, we had Kelly Pennington and Gabby Demick on for our short little mini-series for real estate.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And I think that's everybody. Everyone we've talked to has been so amazing.
So dope. Just incredible human beings that it's been so cool to meet, and it's been so awesome just to talk to them. It's been cool to interact with people on Instagram. There's so many people that have become this really cool group of human beings that even if this podcast is us just talking into the void, I know that if we go on the Instagram and post something, they're going to support us. They're going to give us advice. They're going to cheer us on, whatever it may be. There's so many cool, I can't even list them all. There's just so many cool human beings.
So, we forgot to mention, we are expecting our second baby.
Yeah, we've mentioned it because it's come up for sure.
We've casually dropped it, and people message me on Instagram, and we're like, what the hell? Are you having a baby? You didn't tell us.
Sorry, yes, Haley and I are having another baby.
So we're having another baby, and I just appreciate those people who are listening so carefully every week that they caught that.
For sure.
We let it slip.
For sure.
It was not, we're almost halfway. It was not some secret. We just hadn't let it out. But yeah, we're having another baby, and I feel so confident financially going into this. It was a little scary before. We weren't scared to be parents. Maybe you were. I was not. I was scared about the money part.
That's what I was scared about. I knew I'd figured out the other stuff.
Yeah, I was scared about how we were going to pay for everything.
Yeah. All right, you guys. So, in true Clark Griswold fashion.
Oh, my God.
Can I ask everybody for a drum roll, please? Joy to the world.
You are so ridiculous. Okay, so 2020 for us has been huge. We have paid off $46,038.53.
What? Say that one more time for everybody.
I'll say it real slow. $46,038.53.
All right, so 24,000 of that was the 4Runner being sold. The rest of it is us. So that's 22,000.
There's a $2,400
Oh yeah,
stimulus there.
$2,400 stimulus. Yes, thank you, America, for the generous help when you shut down our world. Thank you so much for doing that. We appreciate that. Okay, so 22,000 of that minus the 2,400. So about 20 grand of that is our saving through the year as well.
Wow. I mean, I was on maternity leave the whole second half of I didn't actually go back to teaching until August.
And both of my side hustles got shut down.
Yeah. I just
Bruh.
don't understand. Looking back, I'm I don't understand how that was possible. But so much is possible when you actually just hammer down the budget and realize that, oh my God, $700 on takeout a month, that's a little outrageous.
It's a little crazy.
Let's take that down to $75.
So here's the other cool thing, though. So it's not just that much, you guys, that we've paid off that much in debt, but we also have a little bit stashed away in our squirrel mode, which is one of the episodes that we talked about. We've got some in our squirrel bank right now. So what's in the squirrel bank?
We have $4,550.
Bang. So that's an extra little bit of cushion in there, too.
There's $1,000 included in that. That is our
The emergency fund.
technical emergency fund. So we've got $3,500
So
actually stacked away for
almost 23,000, 24,000 this year that we've been able to pay off with debt or save. That is just insane to think about when I think of the ridiculous and stupid spending habits we had. I mean, that is just awesome. That is
really
liberating.
It's so liberating. And I just finished my job, the substitute job share, whatever. And I mean, how do you feel about me going?
I'm hyped.
And not working.
I'm
not
hyped
bringing
about
in
it.
income.
I get to be in this nice, cool classroom setup on the big computer. I'm not staring at my laptop. You got me freaking blue light glasses for Christmas, so I don't have to squint or anything. My life is going to be infinitely better for the second semester. My kids are going to be like, wow, Mr. Brownwoods is extra today. Even more so than I normally am.
So, do you have any stress about finances moving forward?
No.
Really? You have no hesitation?
No. And you guys,
I mean, I don't
listeners,
either, but
I've told Haley this when we got married. Haley and I both grew up in similar ways with how our families dealt with finances and dealt with some things. And I told Haley that one of the most attractive traits about her as a human being is that if shit ever hits the fan, Haley knows how to grind. Haley knows how to pick up a second job. Haley knows how to work her tail off. Haley knows how to save. Haley knows how to spend appropriately. And that was before we were budgeting.
Before we went crazy.
Exactly. Because you had the money, you could do that. But the moment we got onto this budget, girl, whoo, no wonder we had that second kid.
Oh, my God. Well, thanks for the compliment.
You're welcome.
I do agree that if push comes to shove, we will figure it out. But it is nice not even really walking through the worst case scenarios in my head. I do know that, yes, we will figure it out. Yes, we have the budget down to a T. We have this extra $3,500 for the next few months. But I just feel so confident that we will do a great job this next year. 2021, 2020 was just getting started, and I really hope I'm not talking about COVID in that manner. But for our finances, we're just getting started. I really hope that this is the year that we hammer out a whole lot more debt.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm stoked for our New Year's Eve plan to set our goals again and to get started on the new year and hopefully keep crushing it.
And we made that poster, and it's still on our wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was huge. If you can take anything away from this episode other than don't yell at your pregnant wife over pumpkin muffins, write your goals down. Write them down. Keep them visible and constantly reference back to them because that was life-changing for us. we got this big giant poster from one of our classrooms, drew it out huge, made it pretty, and it's not like the most aesthetic thing in our kitchen, but it hangs on the wall every day. And we see it, and we get to see all of the 11.5 student loans that we've got to slash off that mountain this year. And it's invigorating, it's empowering every day to see that. It's a reminder, like, that's where we came from. Not long ago, a year ago. And this is where we are today. And I said to you, hey, let's get rid of this mountain and do something else. And you were like, we're not getting rid of the mountain until it's gone.
You can tattoo it on my back, dude. That poster's important to me.
It is really important. It's very significant. And
it is. It's symbolic.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what New Year's Eve poster we come up with this year, you know? We'll have photos forever that we can show our kids. Like, hey, this is what we did for a couple years when we were trying to sort things out.
Maybe we'll have good New Year's. We had a good one last year.
Yeah.
You ruined a couple
I
years
have ruined
before.
a couple. I've ruined a couple New Year's. If you guys are interested in those stories, hit us up on Instagram or Twitter. You can hear about how I've ruined New Year's.
New Year's is my favorite holiday, and Justin is notorious for ruining it. However, last year was fantastic. This year will be great too. And hopefully moving forward, New Year's traditions for us will just be goal setting and
Absolutely.
nothing too crazy.
Yeah. So, you guys, thank you for an awesome 2020. Thank you for supporting us through all of it. Again, even if we're out here talking to the void, it feels good because it helps hold us accountable. It helps us keep the right things in the windshield of our life. We're not looking back as much as we are looking forward, and I think that that's important. And it's just been a blessing to meet really, really cool people. Again, whether we interviewed them, whether they helped us out with some part of the podcast, whether there's somebody on Instagram, Twitter, like, we've just met some really rocking people, and it's been super cool. So I'm really thankful, even in the hard times of 2020, for all that we've gotten from it.
And I really hope that our story, everything we share with you, can just help empower anyone who's listening to take necessary steps to really move forward and build a budget or try to pay down some debt. Make the small changes in your life that turn out to be, holy crap, a year later, I can't believe I'm here. Because it really is just a bunch of little things together that make a huge, huge impact in your life.
Yeah.
And if we can do it, anyone can do it. That's
Agreed.
definitely a fact.
Agreed. Absolutely.
And everyone that listens to our podcast, we thank you. You guys are amazing, and I'm glad we started this.
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Me too. So that's going to do it for this episode and this year for the Price of Avocado Toast. As always, we are so glad to have this conversation with you guys, and so thankful to be part of this community. Please, please, please have a happy and safe New Year, and as always, happy budgeting.
You've got this, Toasties, even in 2021. Thank you for listening to The Price of Avocado Toast. If you vibed with this episode, share it with a friend. We'd love to continue building our listening community.
If you're interested in speaking more with a financial coach, hit up our coach Ryan at MeFinanciallyFree on Instagram. Use the promo code HELP50 in the consultation notes section to receive 50% off.